You see, one of the biggest misconceptions that men have about women is this idea that we are just emotional creatures, as if every decision we make, every word we say comes from a place of pure, uncontrollable emotion. But the truth is far more complex, and yes, sometimes even darker than you realize. As a woman, let me tell you this from the inside. We are not just emotional, we are emotionally strategic. There's a difference. And if you don't understand that difference, you will constantly be blindsided, manipulated, or left wondering what went wrong. Now, let me be clear. It's not that women are evil or manipulative by nature. No, it's that from a very young age, we are taught, whether directly or through our environment, how to navigate the world using emotional intelligence. We learn how to read a room, how to adjust our tone to influence outcomes, and yes, even how to cry when it serves a purpose. Not all the time, of course, but more often than most men realize. Emotion is a powerful tool, and women know how to use it, not just feel it. When a woman is upset, when she cries, or when she gives you the silent treatment, it's not always random or irrational. In many cases, it's intentional. It's a form of communication. Sometimes it's even a form of control. And if you don't recognize that, you will constantly find yourself reacting instead of responding. You will find yourself apologizing for things you didn't even do, simply because her emotional display made you feel guilty. Men often make the mistake of thinking that their role is to fix whatever is wrong emotionally. That's noble, but it can also be foolish, because while you're trying to solve a problem on the surface, she might be testing you underneath, testing how you handle pressure, testing whether you'll fold when she becomes emotionally unpredictable, testing whether you're still the man she can lean on, or whether you're just another guy she can control. And I say this not to vilify women, but to empower men, because once you understand this dynamic, once you can see past the surface of emotion and recognize the strategy behind it, you stop being reactive and start being intentional. You stop trying to please and you start leading. You stop being confused by her behavior and start understanding what it's really saying. Women want a man who doesn't crumble in the face of emotional storms, a man who can remain centered, calm, and clear-headed even when she's all over the place. Because the truth is, she feels safer when you're steady. She respects you more when you don't fall for every tear or emotional outburst. And deep down, she wants to know that she can't just sway you with drama. So, gentlemen, don't mistake emotion for chaos. Look deeper. Pay attention to the intention behind the emotion. That's where the real communication lies. And once you learn to read that language, you'll stop being played and start leading with purpose. Let's talk about something that many men find hard to accept, but it's a reality you must come to terms with if you want to win in relationships. A woman's attraction is conditional. I know that's not what you've been told. I know we've all been fed the fairy tale that love is unconditional, that when a woman truly loves you, it's forever, no matter what. But I'm here to tell you, as a woman myself, and as someone who's spoken to thousands of women and men about relationships, that idea is simply not true. Women love based on how they feel about who you are, and more importantly, how you show up in her life. In the beginning, she may be drawn to your confidence, your drive, your energy, your vision. But if that starts to fade, so can her attraction. Now, I'm not saying that women are shallow or only after status or money. No. What I'm saying is that women are wired to look for security, not just financial, but emotional and psychological security. That means she needs to feel like you're grounded, that you're in control of your life, that you're moving with purpose. So what happens when you start to slack, when you stop chasing your dreams, when you stop leading, when you become passive or too comfortable? She may not leave immediately, but you will notice the signs. Her respect for you will slowly decline. The way she speaks to you will change. She'll become colder, more distant. And you'll be sitting there confused, thinking, but I thought she loved me. You see, it's not that she stopped loving you. It's that she stopped being attracted to the version of you that she originally fell for. This is what I mean when I say her attraction is conditional. And guess what? That's not a bad thing. In fact, it should motivate you. Because as a man, your growth, your drive, your strength, your presence, these are things that you can control. But you have to understand that attraction isn't just about flowers and dates and sweet words. It's about how you carry yourself every single day. It's about who you are when nobody's watching. Now, does this mean you need to be perfect? Absolutely not. But you need to be consistent. You need to stay grounded in your identity. Don't lose yourself in the relationship. Don't make her your entire world. That's when the shift begins. That's when she starts to see you as less of a man and more of a dependent. And once that happens, it's very difficult to reverse. I always tell men this: the moment you stop being the man she was drawn to is the moment she begins to detach emotionally, even if she doesn't admit it. And the scariest part, she might not even understand why she's losing interest. It's instinctual. It's her subconscious reacting to your energy or lack of it. So no, her love is not unconditional. It's tied to your essence, to your presence, to how much you continue to grow and lead and own your space as a man. And that's not something to fear, it's something to embrace. Because when you step into that, when you stay aligned with your purpose, you become the kind of man a woman can't help but be drawn to. Let me tell you something most men don't realize until it's too late. Being loved by a woman is not the same as being respected. And if you have to choose between the two, always choose respect. Because here's the truth a lot of people won't say out loud. When a woman loses respect for you, the love starts to fade anyway. You can shower her with affection, buy her gifts, spend all your time trying to please her, but if she doesn't respect the man you are, none of that will matter in the long run. As women, yes, we crave love. We want to feel emotionally connected, secure, seen. But even more than that, we need to feel like the man we're with is someone we can look up to. Someone we can trust to lead when it's needed. Someone who knows who he is and won't be easily swayed just to make us happy in the moment. And sometimes we test that, consciously or not. We push boundaries, we challenge your stance, we act out emotionally, and not necessarily because we're looking for a fight, but because we want to feel the strength in you. We want to feel that you're not just loving, but solid. And I say this not to justify disrespectful behavior from women, because that's never okay, but to help you understand where it comes from. If you're constantly saying yes to avoid conflict, if you're changing your values or goals just to please her, if you're putting her on a pedestal while shrinking yourself, she might smile in the moment, but deep down, the respect begins to die. And once that happens, everything changes. The way she talks to you, the way she looks at you, even the way she touches you, it's different, colder, distant, and you're left wondering what happened. But here's the thing, respect isn't something you demand with words. It's something you command through your presence, your actions, and your consistency. A woman respects a man who respects himself first. A man who holds his ground, not in an aggressive or controlling way, but in a calm, grounded way. Someone who can say no without fearing that she'll walk away. Someone who can love deeply, but never at the cost of his dignity or identity. Sometimes love can make men soft. It makes them overly accommodating. They start thinking, if I just do more, if I'm just nicer, she'll love me more. But love without boundaries invites chaos. Love without strength turns into weakness. And women are deeply intuitive. We feel when the man we're with is no longer standing tall within himself. So if you want to keep a woman's heart, don't just focus on making her happy. Focus on being a man she can admire. Be consistent, be purpose-driven, be emotionally intelligent, yes, but don't become emotionally dependent. When a woman respects you, her love deepens. It becomes steady, rooted, and she will show up for you in ways you never imagined. But it all begins with you showing up for yourself first. That's the kind of man we follow, not because we have to, but because we want to. One thing I need men to understand deeply is that women test. We test not because we're evil, not because we want to cause drama or make your life harder, but because instinctively we are wired to test the strength of a man's character. These tests aren't usually planned or deliberate. They often happen without us even realizing we're doing it. But they're real, and the way you respond to them says everything about who you are and how solid you really stand in yourself. Now, I know when I say test, some men immediately get defensive. They think, why would she play games if she really cares about me? But it's not always about playing games. It's about protection. You see, women are constantly trying to assess whether the man they're dealing with is someone they can feel safe with emotionally, mentally, and even spiritually. That doesn't mean you have to be perfect, but it does mean that when the pressure hits, when emotions run high, when the situation is unpredictable, she wants to know that you won't fall apart. So yes, she'll test your boundaries, she'll push your buttons, she'll say something just to see how you'll react. Maybe she'll get moody for no reason or try to guilt trip you or see if you'll compromise something important to you just to make her feel better. And in those moments, it's not about the argument or the emotion. It's about what your reaction reveals. Will you stand firm or will you fold? Will you stay calm or will you become reactive? Will you hold your ground without losing your cool? Too many men fail these tests because they're too focused on keeping the peace. They think, if I just agree with her, if I just go along with it, she'll stop being upset. But what you don't realize is that every time you surrender your backbone just to keep her happy, she loses a little more trust in your strength. And when that happens, she starts pulling away. She might not even understand why, but deep down, she's registering that you're not as solid as she hoped you would be. And let me be clear, this doesn't mean you need to be controlling or dismissive. It means you need to be grounded. A woman doesn't want to lead you. She wants to feel that you know where you're going and that she can relax into that. That's why the tests come, not to break you, but to feel you out, to see if the man you said you were is the man you truly are under pressure. So the next time you feel like she's testing you, don't panic. Don't argue. Don't run to fix or explain everything. Take a breath, stand tall in your truth, because when you pass those tests, not with ego, but with quiet confidence, you're telling her everything she needs to know without saying a word. That's when she feels safest. That's when respect grows. That's when her attraction deepens. Not because you gave her everything she wanted, but because you showed her you can't be moved by every emotional wave. And that's the kind of man a woman never wants to lose. There's this narrative out there that says modern women are so independent, so strong, so self-sufficient that they don't need a man. And yes, it's true. Women today are more educated, more career-driven, and more empowered than ever before. But don't let that fool you into thinking that independence means she doesn't desire leadership from a man. Because the truth is, a woman can be fiercely independent and still long for a man who knows how to lead. The key is that leadership must come from strength, not control, from presence, not pressure. You see, many men make the mistake of thinking, well, she's got it all together, she probably doesn't need me. But that's not what we're saying when we say we're independent. What we're really saying is, I can take care of myself, but I still want someone who can match my energy, someone I can trust to take charge when it counts. We don't want to compete with you. We don't want to mother you. We want to rest in our femininity, but only when we feel safe enough to do so. And here's where so many men get it wrong. They either overcompensate by trying to dominate, thinking they need to assert control to prove they're a man, or they back off completely, thinking they'll give her space and let her run the show. Neither works. Because what a woman truly desires is balance. A man who respects her independence but still stands firm in his masculine energy. A man who doesn't get intimidated by her strength, but also doesn't try to overpower it. A man who leads with intention, not insecurity. It's not about barking orders or trying to impress her with how much you can provide. It's about emotional leadership, being clear about your values, your direction, and how you move through life. It's about making decisions with confidence and clarity, not waiting for her to guide every move. And yes, it's also about being grounded enough that her moods, her intensity, her opinions don't shake you. Because the truth is, a strong woman will challenge you. She'll ask questions. She'll hold you accountable, not because she wants to dominate you, but because she needs to feel that you're solid enough to handle her. And when you do, when you meet her fire with steady, grounded masculinity, something powerful happens. She softens, she trusts, she submits. Not because she's weak, but because she feels safe. That's the beauty of true polarity. So don't be afraid of her independence, embrace it, appreciate it, but don't let it make you shrink. Step up. Show her you're a man with vision, with presence, with leadership, because even the strongest woman wants to feel like she's with a man who can lead, not forcefully, but faithfully. And when she finds that in you, she'll give you a version of herself that no one else gets to see. One of the most dangerous traps I see men falling into over and over again is the need for constant validation from women. And I get it. We all want to feel seen, appreciated, valued. But when your sense of worth starts depending on how a woman responds to you, how much attention she gives you, or whether she compliments you today or not, that's when things start to fall apart. Because here's the hard truth. A man who constantly seeks validation from a woman slowly starts losing her respect and eventually her attraction. You don't need her to tell you you're enough. You need to believe it first. You need to know who you are with or without her approval. Because the moment you start needing her validation more than you need your own purpose, your own voice, your own direction, that's when she starts pulling away. Not because she's cruel, not because she doesn't care, but because on a deep level, a woman wants to feel that the man she's with is centered in himself, that he's grounded in something stronger than her moods or attention. We test this. Whether we realize it or not, we sense when a man is overly invested in how we feel about him. We notice when he changes his behavior just to please us, when he avoids conflict just to stay in our good books, when he seeks praise like a reward for just being himself. And slowly, what starts out as appreciation turns into expectation and then into pressure. We start to feel like we're carrying your sense of worth, and that's not attractive. That's heavy. A man who is self-validated, though, that's a whole different energy. He doesn't need to beg for attention. He doesn't perform for approval. He shows up as he is, clear, confident, and at peace with himself. And that kind of presence commands respect without having to ask for it. That's the man we lean into, not the one chasing our approval. Now, I'm not saying ignore your woman. I'm not saying you shouldn't care about her opinions or feelings. Of course you should. But there's a difference between caring and depending. When you care, you listen, you adjust, you grow without losing yourself. When you depend, you twist, you shrink, you compromise who you are just to avoid losing her. That's not love. That's fear in disguise. So if you're constantly asking, did I do enough? Does she still like me? Why isn't she complimenting me like before? Pause. Ask yourself, what part of me am I handing over in exchange for validation I should already be giving myself? Because when a woman sees a man who stands tall in who he is, who doesn't chase her affection but invites it naturally through his energy, his presence, his groundedness, that's magnetic. That's the kind of man she brags about, not because he begged for it, but because he never needed to. He just was. And that's powerful.